When my daughter Kristen graduated from Dordt College, she said to me, "Dad, I wish I could do it all over again." I find myself saying the same thing. Dordt College will continue to hold a special place in my heart, and know that Helen and I will continue to pray that God will richly bless this college and use her to further His kingdom. Soli Deo Gloria. I came to Dordt College in 1965, and my wife, in a foolish moment, decided to go to Calvin College. In the January of her sophomore year, she transferred to Dordt College. I, of course, did not know her at the time, but it didn't take too long before I did notice her. A year later, it was the Dordt College Christmas party. It continued, and we were married in July after our graduation in 1969.
I have to say, some of that positive spirit from Wayne comes from his wife, Helen. She has been such an active partner in this ministry here at Dordt College that we have to give her at least 50% or more of the credit.
And we have 4 children, all of whom graduated from Dordt College.
Professor Kobus and I went to Dordt College together as students a long time ago. He was a year behind me, and I'm not sure if we took classes together or not, but I certainly knew who he was, and I think that that his wife and my wife may have been roommates at one time for a short time.
I remember sitting down with him as my advisor, and I remember him just being an incredible listener and being really intent on finding out what it was that God wanted from my life.
He has just brought so much insight into my field of study.
He's kept students as a top priority. He's been able to influence students day in and day out, encourage them to go to seminary, encourage them to go into ministry, encourage them in their chosen profession.
Wayne's career here at Dordt College will have effects on the church in literally hundreds of places around the world.
And so when you think about 44,000 different alumni, a large number of those have had Dr. Kobus as an instructor somewhere along the line.
And I think that part of his service is special and unique and should be noted.
I think that he's taught me a lot about theologians that you don't necessarily learn about in other classes. You always hear a lot of names at Dordt, like Abraham Kuyper or Gordon Spikeman or something, but you never actually read about them or read what they have to say straight up until you take a class with Dr. Kobus, and he's very informed about what they think and about how that ties into what we believe and why we're Reformed Christians.
Wayne has this ability to talk about what it means to live out a godly life, and also looking through the eyes of Scripture, what that means to live transformationally. So it's not just in theory, but he shared with students what that means in practice. And
Those really essential truths of Scripture, they come off of Wayne's tongue very, very easily because he believes them, he knows them, and he lives them. And I think we could all learn from that.
And so showing up in his theology class, even though it was only Core 150 at the time, I remember being a little bit intimidated, to be honest.
Well, I think of Dr. Kobus as kind of like a grandpa of the theology department.
Dr. Kobus has this friend that he always brings to class. His name is Harvey, and Harvey is actually, he's called a puka. And for those who are unfamiliar with what a puka is, I have a definition. It's from old Celtic mythology, a fairy spirit in animal form.
He tells grandpa jokes. I don't know how else to explain it.
The puka appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that one. It is very fond of people who are rum pots or crackpots.
And so, as is the case for most students, I wanted him to like me.
So the question is Kobus a rum pot or a crackpot?
And he tends to get off track sometimes, and it's fun to follow his bunny trails wherever they take the class.
Definitely a rum pot. Don't worry, Wayne. They can't fire you now.
But they can still fire you.
Something that stands out to me that's might be small at first, but I think is incredibly profound, is I can't think of a time when I ever knocked on Wayne's door seeking advice or trying to talk, where he didn't instantly turn around and leave everything else that he was doing and make you feel like the most important thing that was happening in his day in that moment. And I think that's an incredible gift for any faculty member to give to the students or colleagues, people seeking wisdom or advice that are coming to see him one-on-one. It's not just in front of a classroom, but it's what happens in a relationship. And I think that has a lot of impact on people.
I have personally learned from Dr. Kobus that it is okay not to know all the answers to the world's problems.
As I look back and think how I've changed since I set foot on this campus as a student until now, there's a deeper joy knowing that this world belongs to God, that in Jesus Christ all things are being made new, and so that we can live out our lives in a bold humility.
And when dealing with things such as world missions and how to engage this world and engage the country that we live in, he's willing and able to wrestle with the tension that lies with not knowing what to do all the time.
Wayne knows more about Reformed doctrine probably than most people alive. But when you talk to him, you never feel like he's talking down to you. You never feel like he's talking over you.
He has gained the respect of the Dordt faculty. They not only put him in for one term, but for 2 terms as faculty chair. He's been chair of departments and division leader and so on. So he's had a lot of respect from a lot of people.
So Wayne and Helen, on behalf of Dordt College, the faculty, staff, students, and board, thank you for your service here. 44 years as a professor, 4 years as a student. You have blessed us richly, and now we'll pray that God blesses you in what He has next for you in this next phase of your life.
This morning, I came out and the sun was just not quite up. The sky was pink, and I just paused and I looked and I said, amazing God. And if this is so beautiful, can you imagine a new earth under new heavens with the curse of sin fully removed?